I am Srinivasan, Manager of Public Relations at IIT Kharagpur. Today I will be presenting before you the 6th webinar of the Institute webinar series in association with Students Alumni Cell IIT Kharagpur. The speaker of today's webinar is Mr. Subrata Roy. He is a graduate of 1996 batch from the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. Subrata Roy is currently the Director of Deloitte Consulting. Mr. Subrata Roy has worked across various corporates such as Tisco, Infosys, Quest America, Whittman, Hart, eWaken technologies in his past. The topic of today's webinar is consulting. I hope you all will enjoy this interactive session.
Sure. So consulting, right? Consulting is a very broad term. Consulting, as most of you would know, is anywhere where we give advice. So the way we look at consulting, or at least from a Deloitte background, and how we look at consulting is consulting could be in space of audit, in place of tax, in the areas of financial advisory, and then finally consulting, finally just consulting. So even though even though I'm part of the consulting group, all I wanted to make sure is you understand that consulting doesn't necessarily always mean that it has to do with IT, technology, etc. Right? It can be even you could be consulting in the audit side too. So broadly, the way again I define consulting is it could be one of strategy, process, those kind of consulting, right? Everything to do with forward-looking company strategy, company processes, financials, all those are consulting, one area. The second area is, which is very popular, is IT or technology. That again, I don't know how much of introductions you need, but that takes everything from systems, technology, anything to do with IT, anything to do with technology, even including technology strategy sometimes falls in the technology space of consulting. The third area where it's an upcoming and it's also very important is human capital. What it means is all kinds of HR related consulting. It could be compensation, it could be change management, it could be org design, it could be org transformation, executive benefits. So all these, most people don't think of them as consulting, especially with an engineering background. We always tend to think of consulting as IT. So that's kind of the overall, I would say, bigger picture of consulting. My background has been I started in IT consulting, and kind of as I grew up, now it encompasses all areas of consulting that I just talked about. So I have, I lead global transformation programs where I have people focused on strategy, working with the executives, defining strategies, future strategies for our clients. Defining processes for our clients. And then I also have people that are in hardcore technology who are defining systems, who are defining defining solutions. The processes that are defined by strategy guys are taken by the technology guys to define solutions and then implement those solutions. So that could be anywhere from just functional work, which is more process related work with systems, down to development related work, so developers that are developing programs, down to also with also people that are managing systems, sysadmins, DBAs, etc. And then I also have people that as we go through these large transformation programs and the future strategy, they are also defining the human side of things, training, communication, change management, how the future organizations should be. How should people's new compensation models look like in the new processes? How should we align goals of individual people and the executives to the transformation programs and to the future businesses? So as you can see, it has everything under it, right? So that's how I see consulting, or I see how consulting is defined today. One of the things, one of the questions I'm sure you might be thinking is, so what's the future of consulting? So as long as we have we have companies, as long as we have businesses, I mean, the future of consulting will always be there. What matters is, where do we think will be the most growth, right? I think the most growth, it would come from very niche areas that are coming up. For example, digital, mobile, anything to do with e-commerce, right? I think the days of just doing application maintenance, or the lower end consulting, or even some people call centers consulting, which I would not. But all those lower end stuff, I think the days of that are, I mean, they will continue to be there. But I don't think, to the audience that I'm talking of, from IITs will be. So what kept me in consulting? I've been consulting since '96. I mean, after I graduated from IIT, I briefly was at Tisco for 6 months, and since then I have been in consulting. Initially IT, and now large transformation programs. I normally talk with the C-levels of Fortune 500 companies in various things that they're dealing with. So what kept me in consulting really is the challenge that every client's business issues are different. So you're constantly learning, you're constantly reading, and you're constantly retooling. One of the big things in consulting, to be successful in consulting, is to retool yourself. So I started as a developer. I used to write programs. I joined Infosys in '97 when Y2K was at its peak, and I was doing mainframe programming. From there, I moved on to do Oracle database programming. From there, I moved on to start doing process-related work, because I knew enough about systems that I could talk to clients about the processes that are implemented by those systems. And then I had to retool myself to go do project management work, which again is not simple. Simply just manage a few people, but really having the rigors of project management, what kind of reports to generate, how to track projects, etc. Then I went on to do programs in which I was doing strategy work, nothing to do with technology. I probably had not touched a system in the last 7-8 years. It's all about strategy. It's all about, then now my work is more around advising our clients, C-level executives, as to what to do. It's not that I know everything, but I know who to bring into those discussions, and I know enough about the industry to give them overall overall viewpoint of how they are doing, how their competition is doing. So that would be in short. I think those are the questions that were posed to me earlier. Is consulting, I think, why consulting, the future of consulting. At this point, Srinivas, I think what we should do is probably to keep the dialogue going, see what kind of questions I have, then I can expand on those areas.
Yes, sir. Being at IIT Kharagpur, how can students prepare for a career in consulting?
Let me take you back to my 4 years in college, 92 through 96. I absolutely hated computers. I'd taken one course in Fortran that I barely managed to pass. I mean, I didn't take it. It was a prerequisite, right? You have to do it. When I graduated from metallurgical engineering, I graduated at the top of my class, and I had decided I'm never going to get into IT. Nothing into consulting. I will go down. I will join Tisco. I'm from Jamshedpur, so Tisco was my kind of was in my home place. So I wanted to go back there. Even my final year project was typed by some guys, some of my wingmates from computer science department, because I just did not want to touch computer. Fast forward 96, 2013 years. I mean, IT computer is part of my life, right? Everything I do, everything is technology is part of my life. So I don't think I was prepared, or I prepared myself at IIT for anything in consulting. What the experience that I've had that helps me even today, first thing is the challenge, right? You get a lot of challenging things to do that the confidence that you've successfully done then makes you go forward. The second area is really the overall breadth of what we learned there at IIT. So I can have a good conversation with someone in a very different area, So for example, my wife is an electrical engineer and she has decided to choose, she chose to stay in electrical engineering and not go into IT. She does consulting too, but in more of a design of electrical systems and all. So it's not that I'm that deep in electrical, but I've had some basic courses in electrical, so I can have some meaningful conversation with her. So why is that important? It is important because in consulting you will meet a lot of people that come from very varied background and experiences. Your ability to talk with them, your ability to have a dialogue, a conversation is with them is what gets you, what makes you successful. Because you have to think of it this way: in consulting, we don't sell products, we sell our skills. And the best way of selling your skills is to build your network, is to build that trusted relationship. People will listen to other people when they trust them. They're not going to listen to someone randomly walking up to them and talking. So in short, what I'm trying to say is, I don't believe, at least when I graduated, I don't believe anything that was that I had prepared for a life in consulting. It was all about that background, all about the confidence, all about the people that I had worked with. So it's a very cosmopolitan environment at IIT Kharagpur, at least when I graduated. So I got to meet a lot of people with varied lifestyle and varied point of views. So that is what I think helped me prepare for this life in consulting.
What do consultancy companies look for in a person?
When I interview people, because I do a lot of interviews here in the US, so when I interview people, there are a few attributes that I'm looking for. The one big one I'm looking for is communication ability and the confidence that the person has. As I mentioned, it's your communications, it's your confidence that keeps you in the consulting world and makes you successful. So I look for people who I can trust. I look at people who have the good communications. I look at people who have good eye contact, good body language. So that's the basic criteria, right? Obviously, then depending on at what level I'm hiring, I'm looking at their skill set, whether they have the proven track record or not. So consulting companies, I would say, if you're looking for a fresh graduate into a company, I would say consulting companies should be or would be looking for people with, obviously, with the background of GPAs and all has to be there, right? When we do campus recruiting, we look at that. We look at problem solving abilities, analytical capabilities. I should have mentioned that also earlier as to how you prepare for the life in consulting. Is the problem solving, the analytical capability, the ability to look at a problem and logically break that down and come up with a solution, are things that I have learned at IIT. So things like that, attributes of like that, those are what we call the consulting attributes. Those are the things that we would like, we would look for a person who is joining fresh from any institution.
Sir, can you tell us about the role of internships in career in consulting?
Sure. So internship, what that does is gives you that experience and gives you the view, your own personal, helps you form your own personal opinion about how a certain industry that you may want to work with work. As far as, again, I have to be careful here because I'm also talking in some sense as to how things happen in the US, and India may be slightly different. I don't do a lot of recruiting in India, but I do have colleagues who does them or who do them in India. So the role of internship that I see here has to do with really looking at the person's motivation, the person's how that person has done as an intern. So if we bring in an intern into a company and we observe them, we give them opportunities, we find out how they're working, and then obviously we form an opinion about the person. So when we go to campus, we do want to make sure that we recruit the people that will perform well. We also have interns that are coming in from the industry, so they may have done their internship at an industry. When we look at them, we look at their their skill set, the relevant skill set that they could bring from the industry that would be useful to us. So when I was in my third year, between third and final year, I think we had to do our summer training, we used to call. I did that in telco, and the feedback was very positive. So when telco came for campus recruiting, they really wanted to hire me, but I was so interested in Tisco that I did not even sit for their exam. So we do the same thing too. When we have people that have done very well during as an intern, we would like to bring them back as permanent employees. At the same time, of interns who have, or people who have done internship from good or reputable industry, have that industries, at least a little bit of industry background that will then be used in consulting. So the role of internship is definitely good if you find internship at good reputable companies and you do well. You definitely don't want to take up internship at a place and then and not do well, so that it reflects on your career back at that place.
Sir, what is job scenario in consulting?
Again, as I said, consulting is a very broad term, and as long as we have companies, they will always need consultants. So focus on the niche areas where companies are struggling. That's where the prospect of consulting is the best. However, those being niche areas, it's difficult to gain experience in them. So you do have to do a lot of reading, a lot of reading and understanding of how those niche areas work. So, on the general areas of IT consulting and all, it will continue to remain strong. Things may change. You may move from working with ERPs to working with cloud to working with big data stuff. So there is, I think the future of consulting is bright. There is nothing. There is no issues with that. It's just a matter of where do you want to focus on, and is that part of consulting segment? Is that segment of consulting important, or is that segment of consulting have a future? So currently, if you're looking for in IT related field, I would say the big areas are digital, mobile, big data. I mean, we have generated terabytes of data in the last decade or so, and companies want to make use of them. So the future of ERP will continue to be there, but even though you'll find a lot more people with the ERP skill set than with the data skill set, and with the analytical attributes that are encouraged and developed at IIT. Those are the areas that you would want to focus on.
Thank you, sir. Students Alumni Cell and Public Relations Cell are happy to have you on the webinar, and I think this interaction would be very helpful for students seeking career in consultancy.
No problem. Happy to be here, and you guys have my contact. If you want to reach out to me for something, feel free to do that. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, sir.